Hello and welcome to today's lesson. Today we will be looking at something called a cash book. Let's dive right in. Over here we've got a cash book, an example of how it will look. If you look at this column, you see it's something called a debit column. There's a minus right next to the debit because this is where we will put our expenses, which means things that we have to pay. If you look at the next column, you will see there's something called a credit column. There's a plus next to the word credit because here is where you'll put all your money that you get. So things like a salary or a bonus and so forth. Over here, we will be working with the blank cash book. The first thing you'll be filling in the blank cash book would be your name and your surname. And if you look to the right, you see there's something called a signature. The signature is something you're going to have to figure out on your own. You can make it as creative as you want. For now, I've put in mine. So let's recap quickly before we start. The debit column is where you put the money that you've lost. And the credit column is the money that you've earned or bonuses that you've gotten. Okay. If you look on today's lesson on Canvas, you can see that the instructions are also written over there. These are all the transactions that we're going to be putting into our blank cash book. So we will be looking at each transaction and seeing if it's a debit or a credit. Let's recap quickly. A debit is something that you lost, so we're going to put a minus next to the debits. And a credit is something that you get, so we're going to put a plus next to the credits. So I'm going to go through it with you. Let's look at the first one. 1st of August, you receive your salary, which was 100 Rand, and we're going to put a plus next to that because that's going to go in the credit column. The 2nd of August, you paid for house insurance. The word that gives that away would be pay, and there will be a minus, which means a debit. For the 3rd of August, you received a birthday gift. Received means it's going to be a plus, so a credit. There's another 3rd of August. For paying bus fares, you have to pay, so it's going to be a debit. The 4th of August, you received money for good behavior. The word that gives it away over there would be received, so it's going to be a credit. The 6th of August, you received your salary, another receive, which will be a credit. Another 6th of August, you got a cash deposit. Deposit will be a credit for 15 Rand. The 8th of August, you pay for your driving test. So the word that gives it away over there would be pay, and that's 30 Rand, and that will be a debit. On the 10th of August, you got a fine. Fine is unfortunately something you have to pay, and that's 20 Rand, and that would be a debit. On the 11th of August, you receive your salary again. Receive means it's a credit, so it's going to be a plus. On the 12th of August, you paid for your bus fare, which was 12 Rand, and the word pay indicates it will be a debit. On the 13th of August, you pay for a doctor's visit. Oh no, you have to pay again, so it's going to be a debit. On the 19th of August, you received your salary again. We know the word received means that it would be a credit. On the 21st of August, you buy a property. So now you've spent 300 Rand, and that's going to go in the debit column. And on the 25th of August, you got a fine of 20 Rand, another debit. So these plus and minuses are just to help you, so you can see if it needs to go in the debit or the credit column. Okay, now that we know which is a debit and which is a credit, we're going to start with our blank cash book. I'm going to do the first 3 with you, and the rest you will have to do on your own. Let's start. So we know we have to put in our name first, then the signature that you have created, and then we're going to look at our first transaction. Our first transaction was on the 1st of August, so you're going to write that into the date column. And it was to receive your salary. So we already indicated that that would be a plus. So you're going to write in the credit column that you got a salary. You have to give a reason for the money that you've earned or lost. And you also have to write in the amount, which was 100 Rand. Now, in the balance column, you're going to we've started off with 100 Rand. And if you have to pay money, you add the balance. And if you lose money, you have to minus the balance. But don't stress about it now. I'm going to explain it as we go along. So for now, our balance would be 100 Rand. Okay, let's look at our next transaction, which was on the 2nd of August. You write it into the date column. And you had to pay for your house insurance. Okay, this would be a minus, so it's going to go in the debit. I'll just write house insurance, or you can just write insurance if you want to. And the amount will go right next to it. It is 50 Rand. So we have a balance of 100 Rand, and now we had to pay 50 Rand. So we have to say 100 Rand minus the 50 Rand we had to pay, and our balance would be 50 Rand now. Okay, let's look at the third transaction. This transaction happened on the 3rd of August, and you received a birthday gift. So we already indicated that this would be a plus, which means it will go in the credit column. And it was 20 Rand. Now your balance is 50 Rand from the 2nd of August, and you've received 20 Rand. So what will you be doing now? You'll be taking that 50 Rand and plussing the 20 Rand, and then you have a balance of 70. So if your previous transaction is in the debit column, you're going to minus from your balance, and if it's in the credit column, you're going to be plussing it from your balance. Now I've done the first 3 for you. There are lots more transactions that you need to be putting into your blank cash book. I would like for you to please finish your transaction and submit your work on Canvas. Good luck, and let me know if I can help you with anything.